Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever Lorcana Local Lowdown. I guess that's what I'm going to be calling it at the moment. And effectively, I'm recording my locals. At my locals. It's as simple as that. Shout out to the guys at Geek Retreat. I'm not sponsored by Geek Retreat, but big shout out to the guys over there. If you have a Geek Retreat close to you in the UK, be sure to go out and support them and send them the love, as well as any other local game store out there that you go to for your Lorcana locals. So, this is a very interesting game between me and Nat. Shout out to Nat. I am playing my Ruby Amethyst Li Shang aggro deck, whilst Nat is playing with her Emerald Amethyst aggro deck with a twist, which is really funky because I've been playing with Nat a lot. We have a great banter between each other whenever we play games together, and I've known Nat to be a major aggro player for the longest time. And this is her colour scheme anyway. She really enjoys Emerald Amethyst, at least at the moment, going into next set. But the twist with Nat's deck this time around is that it's not just your regular aggro deck. She was telling me, I've got something new planned out. Will you see it in this first game? Probably not, but we do have 3 games for you in this matchup, so we should find out. I ink to start off with and play out a Chernobog Followers, very simple first turn play, so I have a chance to go for a card draw if I need it. Nat goes for a Cursed Merfolk for fantastic early aggro. Now I ink a Madam Mim Fox on my next turn, quest for 1 with Chernobog Followers. I decide not to use the effect to discard and draw a card, instead paying 2 to play out the snake, bounce it back to my hand. Now I have a way to get rid of Cursed Merfolk without immediately wiping, even though Cursed Merfolk does 0 damage. Benefiting off of getting rid of it would be better on an actual attacking character rather than a character that has a better effect when he quests, which in this case is Bog Followers. Nat plays out the Flynn Rider for additional aggro threatening, and Cursed Merfolk immediately takes him up to 2 lore. The game begins! Now the trick with me is I've got to think 2 things. Number 1, I've got to basically get my plays out on the board as soon as I can and control the board as soon as I can to make sure that Nat cannot capitalize on the sheer amount of aggro, whilst also questing to make sure I can actually, play and win the game. So I ink a Floodborn Li Shang, which is what the deck is based around, his ability being any character with 4 attack or more quests for +1 lore. Inking him because I didn't need him at that moment in time. Instead of swinging into the Cursed Merfolk with the snake, I instead bounce the snake back into a fox. Fox gets rid of a merfolk instead, so at least then I have a snake in my hand, ready to go if I do need to bounce the fox back or do any other future bouncing plays. Because I go into merfolk and I have to discard, I then discard a Mana Medusa. It's 6 cost, it's uninkable, it's just sitting in my hand at the moment and cannot go anywhere, so I might as well get rid of it. It's just not useful right now. Nat plays out an Agrabah, so that's an immediate threat yet again for another 2 lore, and quests for 2 with Flynn Rider. And now I have another problem on my hands where, yes, I can get rid of Flynn Rider, but the issue is that's another card I need to discard. Do I have a card in my hand I'm willing to get rid of? That's what I need to think. So this time round, after a little bit of thinking, I ink the Chernobog Followers that I bounced back into my hand a while ago with Mim Snake, play everything to play out the Merlin Rabbit, because I'm just thinking, no, I need options in my hand. I need to get out the Rabbit, plus if I do want to use Snake, I can always bounce back the Rabbit to get a card draw. But then at this moment in time, with what I have on the board, with Agrabah and with Flynn Rider, I've got to make a tough decision about do I get rid of a Flynn or not, and I do because of Agrabah. So I tackle into Flynn Rider with the Mim Fox, and after looking at my hand, I do decide to get rid of a snake. It's bad because yes, I can't capitalize off of the additional card draw of the Merlin Rabbit, but it's a sacrifice I just have to make. I think at that time my hand was pretty decent, but I was worried about getting my game plan on board, and I have a way of getting rid of Agrabah as of my next turn, which you will see. Nat now just plays a very simple play, paying 2, playing out the Simba, 2 cost uninkable 1/1 for 3 lore. Straightforward and easy, very good in a aggro deck of this size. I apologise, by the way, because I've only just realised that early on in the video I did say it was a Amethyst Emerald aggro, but no, it's an Emerald Ruby aggro, so I was completely wrong. Apologise to everyone, and apologies to Nat as well. I remember cards, or at least I try to. So let's go over the play I just did. I played out Lumiere. Lumiere gives all of my other characters +1 attack. Now Madam Mim Fox is a 5/3 and is able to immediately get rid of Agrabah. And then at the end of my turn, after questing with the Merlin Rabbit, I'm just going to raw play Friends on the other side, draw 2 cards, just to make sure I've got my hand size up, and I have the sparing, so why not? I wasn't going to benefit from playing another character at the time. I don't think I had anything really decent in my hand at this time. I think, if I remember back, I think the one card I was contemplating playing instead was a Maui's Fishhook, but you're not going to see the Fishhook, I don't think, in this game, but we'll find out. This is what post-commentary is all about. Okay, going over to Nat's turn, we've got bits to worry about. I'm also getting worried, because Nat's already sitting on 6 lore, able to quest for 9, if they decide to quest with the Simba, which I am conscious of. I am going to be able to chase up, but I still need some of my other combo pieces and a little bit of control in order to make it. That's 5. That's Mad Hatter. For 5 cost Mad Hatter, quest for 3 lore, you get a card whenever Mad Hatter is challenged. A very good card. I've always tried playing around with Mad Hatter, but never seems to really fit in the decks, at least that I make. But in an aggro deck, perfectly viable. Especially if you do hit 5 ink, slap him out, he quests for 3 lore, that's all you need. That's all you really need in the end. So yes, the quest to control the board and hopefully build up my own lore total is still on. Just analysing the board at this point, you're going to see a lot of animated hands here, and I think you can see the kind of personality players have when you just look at their hands. I've never been... I forget what the terminology is for those who study hands and hand language, but there is a title out there, I might put it on screen if I remember, and I just find it very interesting because you can see the personality of a person shine through their hands, which is very intriguing. So I use the Merlin Rabbit to get rid of the Simba, dealing 1 damage to the rabbit. I then ink Friends on the other side because I just don't need it at this moment in time. Pay 3, and we play out another Madam Mim Fox. We're going to bounce back the rabbit, benefit from drawing an additional card. Great play, at least in my eyes. And now, what do? I have things in hand, but what is my best thing going to be at this time? I can quest for 2 at this point, but instead I'm going to pay 1, play out a Li Shang, the 1 cost Li Shang, nothing too special, just a 1 cost vanilla, great for being a shift target. And we're just going to quest for 1 with Mim Fox. Now, bearing in mind, this is my first time recording at my locals, so some things are going to be off camera, such as my lore counter. I genuinely thought I had it in a space where it would be caught, but sadly it wasn't. So there's going to be some teething issues in these initial recordings, but heck, this is a learning process. We're going to see how things go, but I'm just going to hope that you guys enjoy regardless, as Nat on their turn decides to play out a big Flodderborn Flynn Rider. Gets 4 lore, but only if I have no cards in my hand, otherwise he is an evasive boy, so that can still come into use. Quests with Mad Hatter to get the 3 lore, then uses Fan the Flames to ready Mad Hatter, so I can no longer challenge into any of her characters. Big bad. Now I need to start thinking about, okay, if I can't challenge this turn, what can I do to benefit my board? I sing a Friends on the other side with 1 of my Mim Foxes just to draw 2 cards. I'm looking for something that I can play about with here. I kinda need that Li Shang in order to benefit off of questing for big lore now, because with everything I have out I should be able to make this work. I ink a Tuk Tuk, pay the ink, there's a goat, so I at least get 1 lore off of the goat. Here's another 4 attacker, so that's another benefit I'll get if I'm able to get the Li Shang out. But where is he? Where is the Shang? He's never in your hand when you need him. Little bit of thinking later, we just play out another 1-drop Li Shang, and I just move them to the back so I know that their ink is still drying and I can't do anything with them. And now I'm tempted, what do I actually do? Oh yeah, I could just quest. So I quest 4-2, one with a Minfox, one with a Li Shang over to Nat. I'm scared at this point. I'm actually a little bit scared because although Nat's basically going to get no lore from the Flynn Rider, she can effectively use the Flynn Rider as a beat stick if you want to get into any of my smaller boys, or just be there as an ominous threat if I do lose out on cards. So, big threat potential, and I just don't like it. There's another Simba for another free lore. The Flynn Rider is going to tackle in. I'm just explaining to Nat there that yes, Lumiere gets +1 from Lumiere, so that will be a trade. Nat commits to it, so there you go. We're trading the Li Shang for the Flynn Rider. Probably not the best move on Nat's part, but yet again, if I start building up a big character board that's able to deal with threats, that's going to be a problem for Nat in the near future, so big warning. However, Nat is now sitting on a very comfortable 15 lore, which is massive, and I've still got to play catch up. So I play out a second Lumiere for even more attack boosting fun times, and I play out a Super Goof. So now with the Goofy Boy, I'm able to attack with Super Goof. Super Goof turns into a 4-4, tackles into the Mad Hatter, smicks the Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter's gone. I get 2 lore off of Super Goof. Super Goof's still alive and kicking, so that has helped me quite a bit. And then I'm just going to start questing with all my other guys. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5 lore in total. And then 6, 7 lore to catch up. Fantastic work there. And because I'm controlling the board well enough, I can effectively threat the game now. Because if Nat goes for a quest with Simba and goes up to 3, they're not going to get up high enough in order to win unless they've got something in their hand to immediately benefit, which would be a Super Goof actually. If Nat had a Goof of her own, this could be game. However, let's see what happens. Nat's pretty convinced that I've won this round. But let's see how things go. Get a quest for 3, go to 18. Shakes my hand, pretty confirmed that it's all done and dusted. I would have pulled into the be prepared next turn. Fun times. Very fun times, game 1 to me. Now let's move on to game number 2. This is where things get a little bit more spicy. Okay, with mulligans all done, Nat is going to go first, and Ink's playing another Cursed Merfolk. Pretty easy, standard first turn play if you're doing anything in Emerald with aggro. For me, hand wasn't the best this time around, but I'm just going to have to deal with it. Ink for Magic Carpet in order to play out another Chernobog followers. Look, it's a rinse and repeat of the first game. Ain't that sweet. Then over on Nat's side, Ink's a Super Goof by the looks of it. And then pays down the lore in order to immediately get out the Simba. That is 5 lore out on board. Big, scary stuff. Immediately goes straight up to 2 to start things off. I then ink another Magic Carpet from my hand. I don't have the locations I need to really benefit off a Magic Carpet, so there's no point playing it. So what do I do in this scenario? Again, I'm thinking, do I benefit from tackling with Chernobog followers or anything else? There's a Lumiere taking Bog followers up to a 3-1, and at least sets me up for a little bit later on. But the only problem is, if I'm focusing on setups, I can't do anything else, so I need to tackle into the Merfolk to get it off board. At least Lumiere is now on board, ready to go, and if I just play into a character later, it's all good. Because it's Cursed Merfolk, I have to discard from my hand, so I choose to discard another Chernobog followers. It was a very hard call. Very, very hard call, but if I left that Merfolk out, like I said earlier, Nat would have gained 5 lore on their next turn, which would have been really big and scary. Speaking of big and scary, there's Flynn Rider again. Hallelujah, more discard for me. But no, fantastic play there by Nat, immediately going up to 5 lore. Fantastic stuff. Uses Fan the Flames to ready that Simba, so I cannot tackle into it. Youch! I was just hoping to be able to get rid of that little cub. Yee! Foiling my plans. Curse you, Nat, for being great at your deck. Lots of thinking and pondering on my side as we're looking over my hand, the board. What the heck am I going to do? I just don't have what I need. Oh no, why? I decide to ink the Mim Fox because I can't tackle into anything anyway, so there's no point. Pay 2. What's coming out? I'll tell you what's coming out. Medallion Weights, an absolute goat of this deck. And I also play our Li Shang too. So Medallion Weights, in case you don't know how it works, 2 cost inkable item card. You pay 2 and exert it, and you pick one of your characters. It gains +2 attack for that turn, and if you challenge into a character, you don't have to banish them, you just have to initiate the challenge, you get to draw a card. So it's a mini draw engine, plus because it adds 2, that means it can also trigger Li Shang, which is a fantastic plus. Meanwhile, with Nat on their side of the board, going to ink, I believe that was LeFou, in order to play out Shield of Virtue, and Shield of Virtue ended up becoming a real clutch card for Nat in this game. So Shield of Virtue, 1 cost inkable item, and then if you exert and pay 3, you can ready one of your characters. So quest for 5 with both Simba and Flynn, ready Simba because Simba has more lore and is easily killable. It just leaves Flynn to his own devices because it makes sense. If I tackle into Flynn, I then have to discard a card. It's a minus to me. It's a big fat youch. And effectively, the Shield of Virtue becomes a big problem because what don't I have in this color scheme? Item removal. So I'm just banking on what I can do. So I'm going to be triggering Medallion Weights on Li Shang. I'm going to swing Li Shang into Flynn Rider. By doing that, I'm going to discard a Queen's Castle from my hand because of Flynn Rider, and thanks to the effect of Medallion Weights, I'm then going to draw a card. Now, after drawing the card there, I'm going to use the rest of my ink to then play out the Mim Snake, get the Li Shang back into my hand so the damage is now removed. I've got a big snaky boy out onto the field, so at least it's something. I still need severe levels of catch-up, and that Shield of Virtue, as long as Nat just keeps free ink available at all times, I'm not going to be able to get rid of that Simba unless I have a way to directly remove Simba from the board. I am playing copies of Medusa, like you saw in the first game, and I am also playing copies of Brawl, which is the 3-cost inkable action card that allows you to immediately banish a character with 2 attack or less. Are they in my hand? Of course not! This is a game of Lorcana, of course what you need is never in your hand. Nat does the right thing here, quests for 3 lore, uses 3, Shield of Virtue, ready Simba, I'm now scared. The quaking in the boots is real, ladies and gentlemen. It is really real. Jimmies are being rustled. It is not looking good for Ruby Amethyst. After a little bit of thinking, I'm just thinking, right, I can't do a lot. I've just got a quest for 2. It's the only thing I'm going to do with these characters out on the board. I can't swing at Simba. He's protected. I cannot hit the endangered lion cub boy. So I'm just going to do the only viable thing I can do. Play out a fox, bounce back the snake, and then pay the 1 to bring back out the Li Shang. So at least I still have a board of some kind. Did I have the shift Li Shang in my hand? Of course I didn't. Like I said earlier, this is Lorcana, where your opponent will get everything they need, and you, good luck. At least that was me this game. That was totally me this game. My deck was giving me nothing to answer whatever Nat was doing. And literally, all Nat needs to do is keep questing with Simba, readying Simba with Shield of Virtue, and I just can't do anything. It's a huge yowie wowie. So after some contemplation, Nat's going back into the mix. Questing for 3 yet again goes up to 16. Pays 3, there's Shield of Virtue, readies up Simba, and goes straight back to me. Nat doesn't need to do anything. They can just wait. Get their cards in their hand, wait, sit back, relax. They've pretty much got the game. Unless I'm able to maybe get out Li Shang and start questing high to somehow catch up, there is 0 chance of me being able to get back in the zone. I had to discard a card earlier and I picked Queen's Castle. Would Queen's Castle have helped? most likely, but you know what it is. You have to make tough decisions, and I think that was my big misplay of this game. Maybe getting rid of Queen's Castle was not the right thing when I had to discard after getting rid of Flynn. But all I can do is quest for free. Not a lot. I don't have anything in my hand that can really help me out of this moment in time. But there goes the snake. I'm going to ink the snake, pay the ink that I need. There's Maui's fishhook. And is Maui's fishhook going to help me? Of course not. Because it's not as if Nat's playing anything evasive that I need to tackle into. But, yeah. I'm kind of screwed. Now it goes straight over to Nat's turn, and keep an eye out because this is where the game ends. And you may be thinking, oh, but Simba only quests for free, and Nat's playing Ruby. Nat doesn't have Goat. You don't need Goat when you have a certain character that you would have seen in Game 1. So look at the play here. Simba goes to 19, pays 4, which is all you need. Super goof the game. Beautiful work there by Nat. Have a bit of a giggle afterwards. Fantastic game there. Just out-aggroed me completely. And then what do I have in my hand? There's my super goof. I was ready, but I just couldn't get him out. Time for game 3. Okie doke. Round 3. Here we go. 1 to me, 1 to Nat. Who's going to take home the bacon? Let's find out. Winnie the Pooh versus Maleficent. Love the Nats. By the way, I just love the game in general, and I really love the store, love the people that I play with. It's all well and good. Starting off the game, we're going to ink a tuk-tuk in order to play out a Li Shang, and the game is on. Nat on their end, inking 1 card in order to play. You guessed it, it's the Cursed Merfolk. The best 1-drop probably in Emerald, outside of Pegasus. The Baby Pegasus is a fantastic 1-drop as well. Now I ink another Li Shang on my side, now sitting on 2. Whatever should I do, I wonder? Conjuring into the Merfolk because it's too early and the Merfolk's just chilling. Contemplating. Do I do what I want? I think I do. I'm going to pay 1. There's another Li Shang. And then quest for Li Shang. Simple as. We're on the board, people. 1 lore, 2 me, straight back to Nat. Nat's inking out an Ursula, just being honest with me, saying, yeah, you're not running a song guy, are you? And I was honest, I just said no. I think the most important song that I have in the deck is Friends on the Other Side, and that is it. I don't really run any other songs in this deck. There's for 1-drop Pegasus, like I said earlier, and Shield of Virtue. As soon as I see Shield of Virtue, I'm terrified again. All Nat needs to do is set up the board for Shield of Virtue again, and that's it. It's going to be a rinse and repeat of last game. So I need to make moves fast, and I need to make them as soon as I possibly can. Well, I'm basically repeating myself there, but you know what I mean. It's dire, people. It's really dire. So after inking a Maui's fishhook, contemplating what I do, I swing into Cursed Merfolk with 1 of my Li Shangs. This has now left me with a conundrum of what do I discard. I'm going to discard a Medallion Weights, simply because I don't think I'm going to benefit from Medallion Weights this soon. Pay 2, there is a magic carpet. And you may be thinking, why are you playing a carpet on turn 3? Haha, turn 4 plays, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm thinking. I gain my 1 lore from Li Shang, and away we go. Over to Nat's turn. Keep an eye out for my next turn, because there was a reason as to why I decided to play out magic carpet instead of anything else from my hand. And there's the tech. Nat is ready to splash out the Queen. So this is what Nat was working on with their deck. The Queen, in this case, has the ability of exert, discard a character from your hand, and immediately gain the lore of that discarded character. And then, effectively, the trick is you exert the Queen, get rid of a character, get the lore, use Shield of Virtue, ready the Queen, do it again, and you can effectively get huge amounts of lore. The downside is that you lose your hand as a result, so you need to play a bit of catch up with your hand if you're able to, which in Nat's deck is the consequence. But we'll see how this goes. I play out Queen's Castle. Muhaha. Yes. And with Queen's Castle, I use the effect of Magic Carpet to send Li Shang there for free. I then quest for my other Li Shang for 1. So now, I'm just happily sitting at the Queen's Castle. I could have maybe quested with Li Shang, but I didn't want to risk it, just in case. I'm very happy. I can at least get an additional card every single turn. I have a location app that's going to give me 2 lore every turn as well. So when it comes to building up aggro plays, I'm now set and ready to safely build up my lore every single turn. And I've put a sizable threat there for Nat. And in my personal opinion, if I remember, I don't think Nat has a very viable way of getting rid of the Queen's Castle. And here we go. Here comes the tech. Nat uses the Queen. And is just picking a card now. Discards Ray, immediately getting 3 lore, going up to 6. Pays 3, Shield of Virtue, readies the Queen. And just remember, all Shield of Virtue does is ready your character. You can't quest for the rest of the turn, but the Queen can't quest anyway, because the Queen does not have any lore. Discard a Hans, that's another 3, go straight up to 9. I'm actually terrified. This is amazing plays, and I love that I've caught it on camera for you guys to see. With 2 cards in hand, and with 2 uses of the Queen, Nat has immediately gone to 10 lore on her turn. This is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. So I got major catch up. I do get my 2 card draws and I get my +2 off of Queen's Castle. So let's see what I can get up to deal with this board. The problem also is that I have a Pegasus that I need to deal with. I can get rid of Pegasus with my Magic Carpet, but Magic Carpet also helps get my characters into Queen's Castle for free, so I don't have to worry about paying the cost. Oh, speaking of Queen's Castle, there's a second one. More I say. And then I use Magic Carpet, move Li Shang into the other Queen's Castle, so now I have even more threats on the board for Nat to deal with. I'm just thinking to myself now, do I quest with the Li Shangs? Yes, I do. So I'm going to quest over locations. I'm going to go up by an additional 2 lore. Now that means at the beginning of my next turn, I'm going to draw 2 cards and I'm going to gain 4 lore just with those 2 locations alone. That's pretty big. Pretty freaking big. I have left the Magic Carpet wide open, so if Nat does want to get rid of my carpet with Pegasus so that I can't do my travel for free tech, more than happy to do it. But I also have a way to get rid of Pegasus whenever I want with my own carpet once the carpet has effectively fulfilled its requirements. The Queen is being used yet again. There's Simba, go up by 3, go to 13, pay 3. There is Shield of Virtue. But sadly, you now notice one problem. Nat has no cards in hand. So now it's a matter of, if I can keep my hand size and if I can manage this board well enough, I might just be able to get this game on. So let's see what happens. Everything readies. I draw my 3 cards at the beginning of my turn. Thanks to the effect of Queen's Castle, I go up by 4 because of my 2 Queen's Castles in play. Wow, what a start to my turn, I can tell you. At this moment in time, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what am I going to benefit from? Magic Carpet has effectively fulfilled its purpose at this point. I do ink the big shift Li Shang because I don't have a way of getting any of my Li Shangs to +4 attack to be able to benefit from the effect. So I just had to make a decision there. Trade the Carpet and the Pegasus, so the Pegasus is no longer a threat. And hey look, I just raw play the Li Shang. So now, if any of my characters end up having +4 attack, they can quest for 1 additional lore this turn. So if I get all my characters currently on board to +4 attack, they can all effectively quest for 2 lore each. That is a 6 lore play on the board, not including the 2 Queen's Castles, which takes that all the way up to 10 lore in a single turn. Big scary youch moment, and now I basically made Nat worry. If Nat does not have a character in their hand that's worth using the Queen on in order to benefit from that lore, the Queen is effectively a dead card on the field. I can't swing into it, but I'm not worried about swinging into it because I could just keep questing and keep building up my lore instead. I'm just doing some counting there on my fingers, you probably saw. Nat's thinking about it, has to go for it, uses it, uses it on the basic Flynn Rider, goes up to 2, which is still pretty darn good. Goes up to 16, pays for 3, Shield of Virtue, readies for Queen. There's no point doing anything else. Doesn't have anything else in hand, but at least for Queen, cannot be targeted, cannot be removed, and Nat is sitting on a very comfortable 16 lore, which is pretty darn nice. However, Nat decides to swing into one of my Li Shangs at one of the Queen's castles, thinking, no, I can't let you benefit from too much card draw, which was absolutely fine. The Queen survives, but now the Queen is susceptible to being ripped, which is a big problem for Nat, but also a big problem for me. All Nat needs to do is now just play some top deck 3 questers, or even top deck into a super goof, and just keep aggroing me with individual characters, and I'm pretty much terrified. However, with the amount of lore I'm going to be able to get, I'm just adding things up with my hand. I effectively have game. It's because I gained 4 lore off of the Queen's castles. I then play Mary's Fishhook, pay 2, use Fishhook, put it onto Li Shang, so now Li Shang is over the 4 requirement. That is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lore on my turn. That's game. All 3 games over and done with, and that is it. Shout out to Nat yet again for the amazing games. Send your love over to Nat in the comments and let me know what you liked about the games and where you think the plays could have been better on both sides. As a reminder, there will be a deck list of mine available over on the Discord server. The link to that will be down in the description below, as well as links to my other social channels, as well as TikTok if you want some really nice, really fancy, mobile phone friendly videos for you to watch concerning my now favorite card game to play. With all that in mind, I hope you guys definitely enjoyed these games. Big shout out again to Geek Retreat in my local area for allowing me to record the games today. Big shout out to Nat for being a fantastic sport and just having fun in general. I always love having fun with Nat over at the locals. And thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to activate that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I will be seeing you guys next time for some more Lorcana action. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay explosive. I'll be seeing you guys next time.